Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here. We are back with another video. Now, in this video, guys, we shall be talking about the Atlanta Falcons versus the Pittsburgh Steelers game that just ended a couple hours ago. And I hope tomorrow that the Buccaneers beat the Saints. Because once the Buccaneers beat the Saints, this can finally be over. I can stop watching Marcus Mariota be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, and it's finally Desmond Ridder season. And for all the people that says I'm a Desmond Ridder fan, I'm not. There's videos before this season. You guys can go back and check. I'll put one in the description down below so you guys can go check it out. I was not optimistic about Desmond Ridder, but anything's better than Mariota. Let's get into the stats. Marcus Mariota was 13 for 24, 167 yards, averaged 7.7 yards per throw, had 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And of course, when the Falcons are driving down to go tie it up to the field, what does Mariota do? Throws a pick to end the game, which is in the last 3 games. Marcus Mariota on the last drive has thrown a pick each time in the last 3 games. And yet this coach is going to say in the press conference tomorrow that Marcus Mariota is still our quarterback. We got to buy it next week, but I better not see Mariota be the starting quarterback coming against the Saints, because I hope the Saints light him up if he is the starting quarterback. I do not want Mariota as quarterback. I'm not a fan of Desmond Ridder. I want Anthony Richardson next year. Anthony Richardson doesn't seem like he's going to be ready for next year, so I'll see. We may see how a year Desmond Ridder is, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind that. Rushing, Cordell Patterson was our leading rusher with 11 carries, 60 yards, averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Then it was Tyler Algier, who had 10 carries, 52 yards, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. And Marcus Mariota on the ground was 3 carries, 17 yards, 0 touchdowns. Receiving, our top receiver, surprisingly, was Drake London, who had 6 receptions for 95 yards. So a majority of those 167 yards were to Drake London. And Drake London was averaging 15.8 yards per catch. Anthony Firkser had 2 receptions, 24 yards, averaging 12 yards per catch. Olamide Zaccheaus had 2 receptions, 13 yards, 6.5 yards per catch. And Michael Pruitt, who had 1 reception, 7 yards, and that was a touchdown that was only touchdown that we actually scored, because the other 9 points came from Younghoe Koo scoring 3 field goals, and he went 3 for 3, 100%. His longest was 51 yards, and of course, like I said, he put up 9 points. Our best defensive players when it came to this game were Rashaan Evans, Richie Grant, AJ Terrell, and Lorenzo Carter. But not for what you think. I wrote down why they were the best and which stat was different compared to the other players that were on there, because a lot of players did get a lot of tackles, but these players are kind of different. Rashaan Evans had 15 tackles. That's the only reason I had him up here. He led the team in tackle. He continues to do so. So I want to see the progression continue with Rashaan Evans. Richie Grant had 9 tackles. He was tied for second when it comes to tackles in terms of the team. Had 1 tackle for loss. So that's why I think he was our second best defensive player. AJ Terrell had 3 tackles. Kind of disappointing. But he also had 2 pass deflections. And I honestly got to say this. AJ Terrell is kind of playing on a down year compared to what he was doing last year. Now, I mean, he's locking up the receivers, but I expect AJ Terrell to get some picks in this season. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even have more than 2 picks this season. And then Lorenzo Carter had 3 tackles, but he also had 2 QB hits that did not count for sacks. We had no sacks in this game. And when it came to the way the Atlanta Falcons played, I mean, they just couldn't stop the run. And it kind of is ironic, because we went from not being able to stop the pass and not being able to stop both. The run defense for a good majority of the season was really, really good. And now we just can't seem to do that. Now, when it comes to Pittsburgh stats for the game, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett was 16 for 20, 197 yards, averaging 7 yards per throw, 1 touchdown, did not get sacked, did not throw a pick. That's a perfect game for what you want with a rookie quarterback. Najee Harris, second-year running back, has 17 carries, 86 yards, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. Snell had 6 carries, 24 yards, averaging 4.0 yards per carry. And then Kenny Pickett, who has 7 carries, 14 yards, was averaging 2 yards per carry. So the running game was kind of decent. I mean, it's kind of looking like the Falcons were better when it came to the running game. But Najee Harris with 17 carries is obviously why. I'm surprised he didn't get 100 yards. Receiving, though, is where the game got decided. Pat Freiermuth, the tight end, had 3 receptions for 76 yards. I remember hearing that Kenny Pickett threw a big 50-yarder to Pat Freiermuth, and that basically set up them to get a score and to get a touchdown. He was averaging 25.3 yards per catch. Deontay Johnson had 5 receptions, 60 yards, averaging 12 yards per catch. And then Hayward had 1 reception for 17 yards, and he was averaging, obviously, 17 yards per catch because only had 1 catch. Pittsburgh's best defensive player was Mika Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, and Devin Bush. Mika Fitzpatrick, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 pick, and that pick came at the end of the game. Cam Hayward had 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 1 QB hit. Larry Ogunjobi had 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and that was it. Devin Bush had 3 tackles, but he also had a QB hit. But a majority part of the reason why the game did actually scored a lot of points is due down to the kickers. Because Wright was 4 for 4, 100%. His longest was 48 yards, and he put up 13 points. And literally the touchdowns are what decided, because the Falcons ended up losing to the Steelers 19-16. And now we can go into the bye, but I just got to say this. I better not. I will make a video about this if I hear it tomorrow. I do not want to hear the coach be like, oh, we're still in the battle for the playoffs, because we're really not. Doesn't matter if the Buccaneers win or the Buccaneers lose. We are not in the playoff battle. This is the perfect time to let Ritter start for the rest of the season. We got the Saints. Who else have we got? We got the Saints, we got the Cardinals, we got the Ravens, and we got the Buccaneers. Those are our last 4 games. We're not winning any of those games. I'm going to be honest. The Saints are probably going to have a good chance of beating the Buccaneers tomorrow, so I don't think we're going to beat the Saints. We're not going to beat the Cardinals. Definitely not beating Baltimore. Lamar got injured today, but I don't really know. And we're not beating Tampa Bay. So for the last time, and hopefully for the last time I'm saying this, it's time for Desmond Ridder.